What is up, everyone? It is your boy Mike, and we are back again today on a Friday for Queer as Fuck. Today we are going to talk about a article that I found the other day. This last week or so has been pretty run with trans news. Not all of them necessarily good. Most of them not necessarily good, but it's been overrun with trans news nonetheless. And among that news, I found this article from Huffington Post that a trans musician wrote. I've seen it circling around Facebook a little bit, so you might know what it is, you may not. Anyway, there is a trans musician named Ryan Cassata. And he is a trans musician that has personally chosen not to medically transition with testosterone. So he has not ever taken testosterone. I don't believe he's ever taken testosterone. But he's not taking testosterone because his main reason for not taking testosterone is that he doesn't know what testosterone is going to do to his singing voice. And being a musician, that's obviously one of the more important things to focus on when you're trying to go through your daily life. I understand that. Me being a musical theater person, one of my biggest fears with taking testosterone was that, oh no, I'm literally gonna have to start over with learning how to sing well again. And I didn't know if it was just gonna fuck up my voice completely or what it was gonna do. So that was a big fear and factor in me deciding to take testosterone. Now we are here, almost a year and a half later of me taking testosterone, and honestly, I feel me singing on testosterone is way, way better than me singing without testosterone. And I feel more comfortable in my vocal range, because I was already someone with a low voice. I was a pretty low alto, and I was already pretty low, and the low register was where I was most comfortable. So it wasn't really that much of a change for me. It just made me more comfortable singing the songs that I already kind of sang pre-T. But I can kind of understand how someone in a higher register could be a little fearful of what could happen should their voice get, significantly deeper. But anyway, the main focus is not him not taking testosterone so he can sing, but pretty much some of the stuff he said in this article that kind of rubbed me and a lot of other trans masculine I know for sure. I don't know about any trans feminine people, but trans masculine people I know for sure had some problems with this article. And I'm just going to pull some quotes out from this article, some things he said, and we're just going to kind of go from there, and we'll just I'll just relay my thoughts on the things he said. So, like I said before, he chose not to go on T because he wanted to preserve his singing voice. He made a lot of albums with the voice he has now, and he didn't really want to change that. Like I said, that's understandable, I guess. It's not really something about anything I can change, or obviously nothing I can change, but nothing I really have that much of an opinion on. So the first two paragraphs of this article, he basically talks about how he isn't on testosterone, so he looks really young. He's 23, but he looks like 15. And he didn't want to take T because he wanted to preserve his singing voice, and that's all well and good. Now we get to the third paragraph where things get a little gross. Basically, in the third paragraph, he talks about how since he's not on T, he gets misgendered a lot. And people usually read him as a girl, so when he's out in public, people will call him like Miss, or he'll be grouped in with a "hey girls" if he's in a group with other girls. And he makes it a point to say that being misgendered does not bother him, and that is what makes him different than a lot of trans people. Now, the whole point of this article is him basically explaining why being misgendered doesn't bother him. But that one sentence, I know, sparked a lot of irritation with people. The whole, that's what makes me different than a lot of trans people. And I know quite a few people, myself included, got to that sentence and read it as arrogance or kind of seeming like he's better than other trans people that actually get irritated and angry when they are misgendered. And I come from a place of privilege, whether or not you want to accept it or not. If you are able to medically transition, if you're able to transition at all, that is a privilege. Not a lot of trans people get to be able to do that. So when you are able to do that, you fall into that category of being privileged in that right. Now, it may take a while for you to be able to transition, but once you get that ball rolling and you're doing it, you're taking testosterone, you've had multiple surgeries, you fall into that category of being privileged. I am privileged because I am on and have been on testosterone for about a year and like a quarter, I guess. I started in November of 2015. So it's been a year and some change. But that whole being different than a lot of trans people, yes, people are going to be upset. That's just the bottom line. People, more often than not, are going to be upset when they are misgendered. So to say that you're different than other trans people, sure, good for you. You don't get upset when people misgender you. That's not the way it is for a lot of people. And he makes it a point to state that, this is just his personal opinion, and that's how he lives his life, and that's understandable. You have personal things, that's how you live your life. But when you say certain things, and I know he knows he's in a place to where he is a very public, not like very public, but he's a fairly public person, and a lot of people know of him, and there are quite a few people that look up to him, and people that will find him, for being a trans musician, especially being a trans musician that's not on testosterone. Like, that's a fairly unique thing, so people are going to pay attention to that. So, next paragraph, he talks about how his trans friends will get mad to the point where they yell at like waiters that use the wrong pronouns. It's just the thing. People react in different ways. Am I going to yell at someone that misgenders me if I know they didn't mean to do it? No. Can I say the same for like the next trans person I meet? No. That's just how it is. People react to pain and, irritation in different ways. It may be lashing out. It may be, quietly suffering. Who knows? It's just a thing. Do I think you should, put your friends on blast because they get upset when people misgender them? No. But, you got to make your point, so why not? And then he goes on to say that he doesn't believe it's the waiter's fault because it's something that's taught by society, and it's not hateful, it's ignorant. If we're gonna allow people to fall into these categories because it's taught by society, then we're already losing the race. We're losing the battle. It's a race, it's a battle, it's whatever the fuck it is, but it's happening. We're already losing if we're just going to have that kind of mindset. It's just something that's taught by society. Like, who the fuck cares? You know, society's fucked anyway. So if we're gonna let people do shit because it's been taught by society, then we might as well not be doing anything at all. And that's very problematic to do. And then he goes on to say, the only way to change is to educate people. Yes, I that's something I believe in. People need to be educated, but I don't think it is not the place of a transgender person to educate someone that is ignorant to trans issues and things that are problematic to trans people. It is not my job to, let someone know that, hey, maybe you shouldn't just assume someone's gender. Maybe you, on the off chance, I mean, it's not even really an off chance because it's a lot more common than you think. On the chance that you use someone's pronouns or you say miss and they go by Mr., and you end up upsetting them, it's not my responsibility to make sure you learn not to do that. You, just as a whole, need to learn to be inclusive in your speech. Because you never know when you're coming across a trans person. You never know. You might come across a trans person, and you know you're coming across a trans person, but you may not even know that the trans person you're coming across, whether they're binary or non-binary. So you could be reading them as a Mr. and they are non-binary and don't want Mr. or Miss or anything like that to be used at all. I know the more common, or pretty much the only one I've heard of that's gender neutral of Miss and Mr. is, I believe it's pronounced mix. So it's like MX, I believe. They might go by that. You're not going to know because, you just never know. Trans people come in different shapes and sizes, so you can never guarantee. You can never guarantee that's who you're coming across, and you can correct the waiter nicely, make it a point to be nice about it, and then maybe he won't be quick to judge someone's gender, or maybe he'll ask next time what someone wants to be called. I don't think this is something that other people need to sit around and teach people. I think this is something that people just need to learn to do. Because we are living in a world where more and more trans people are, even though it's fucking frightening, especially within these next 4 years, it's going to be fucking frightening. There are more and more trans people that are coming out and more non-binary trans people that are coming out. So I believe that this is just something people need to do, because at this point, it's not even a factor of they're not aware we exist. They're fucking aware we exist. So all the non-trans people just need to, even the trans people, because there are a lot of binary trans people that are very, very guilty, annoyingly so, of being hateful towards the non-binary community, and it's fucking ridiculous. I don't want to put y'all on blast, but I'm not gonna lie, it's mostly trans guys. Like, there are very few, I'm sure there are some, but there are very few trans women. I can actually think of like at least one, but it's mostly trans guys that will have some shit to say about the non-binary spectrum, which is a load of horseshit, and it pisses me off to no end. Anyway, that's another topic for another day. But anyway, the point of the matter is that it is not the job of the trans person to educate a cis person or another trans person on how they should be addressing other people. That's my general point. And I was reading this article and I was irritated by this point. I got irritated at the third paragraph, where in the fifth paragraph right now, but the sixth paragraph is where it got me, because he said, "Why doesn't being publicly misgendered bother me anymore? It's because I'm comfortable with who I am." Being upset that someone has misgendered you has nothing to do with whether or not you are comfortable with who you are. I am so fucking comfortable in my skin at this point, minus the fact that I haven't had top surgery yet. That's literally the only thing at this point in my life that I'm not comfortable with is my chest. But other than that, I am so comfortable in my skin, it is fucking ridiculous. But I still get upset when people misgender me. And yes, it does happen. It's not often, but it happens. I will be misgendered. People will use, like she and her when talking about me, and I'll just be like, all right. I mean, I'm not going to say anything because I myself am not a personally confrontational person. Most of the time, I'm getting to a point in my life where that's just kind of going out the window, and I'm just kind of straight up saying everything that comes to my mind whenever it comes to my mind, which is not usually that good because I mostly get misgendered at work, and that can be problematic. But anyway, moving on. You do not need to be uncomfortable with who you are to be upset when people misgender you. You have every right to be upset whether you're comfortable, you're uncomfortable, whatever the situation is. You have every right to be upset when people misgender you because no one has the right to misgender you. And no one has the right to assume your gender. And I know people like to make those fucking "did you assume my gender" jokes, and I'm just like, all right, whatever. Be a fucking dick. But whatever. I mean, it's not whatever, but still, another topic for another day. No one has the right to assume your gender no matter how you present. You can present in the most masculine form and still identify as a woman. And you can be the most feminine person that anyone will ever meet, and you will still be a fucking guy. No one has the right to assume anything about you. And, some people don't need other people's, validation to feel good in their skin. And that's good. That's good. That's a good way to live. But other people do need validation. And I'm going to bring this up really quickly, but this is a topic that I do want to save for another video in the future. But most trans people also have some sort of mental illness to accompany them with being trans. I'm not saying that being trans is a mental illness, but most trans people have mental illnesses that they deal with, along with being dysphoric and all that other bullshit. And a lot of those mental illnesses include other people validating you. I am one of the people that has, I don't know, like two or three of my mental illnesses. I have quite a few. Some of the big things that keep me calm is being validated from other people. Now, it's a little less necessary than it was, say, like a few years ago, but it's still somewhat there. And when you're trans and you have mental illnesses that require you to be validated, something like being validated on your gender, like not being misgendered, can go a long fucking way. So that's another thing that like this whole paragraph is just a literal bunch of bullshit. And he talks about how he needs to see himself the way that he is, and it's all about inner validation. Yeah, inner validation is good. That's really good. That's a good healthy way to live life. But more oftentimes than not, especially in the world we live in, sometimes, most of the time, other people's validation and how other people see you is just as important as how you see yourself. Do people eventually get out of that? Yes, but in most cases, it's once they feel that they've been validated enough by other people to where they have reached a point with their self-validation that they don't need other people's validation. I'm using the word validation a lot, And it's like, those times where you say a word a lot, and to the point where it doesn't even seem like it's a real word. I obviously don't know how to speak, but that's how validation is for me right now. Anyway, inner validation, that's good. More oftentimes than not, other people need other people's validation to achieve inner validation. That's just a thing. You may not need some random person. That's actually a thing. A thing I want to talk about right now. Being correctly gendered and having the right name used by your friends and family, that is so nice. It is. It's really good because those are the people you surround yourself with, and in some cases those are the people you're with pretty much every day. And that is a good thing to have. But this obviously is a personal thing because he doesn't feel this way. So, like I said, trans people come in lots of different shapes and sizes and different personalities. This is kind of like that. I agree with some of the things he's saying to a point, but mostly I don't. But having a stranger, someone you don't know, someone you've never seen before and you never will see again, correctly assume your gender and use your correct name when you tell them, like, to me that's even better than having people that know you use the correct pronouns and name. Because when you have these people that, especially if you have these people that have known you since before you transitioned, you have them that are using your correct pronouns and name, and that's still a big change and step from whatever you were before you transition. But being able to go out in public and have someone that you've never seen before and you will never see again, probably, and don't even know their name, use the correct pronouns, that's so nice to a self-esteem, really, because you know that you're doing something right. Like, friends and family, you can love them, you can love them, they can love you, but more oftentimes than not, they will mostly do and say things, if they care about you enough, they will do and say things that they know will make you happy. So, and that can be dangerous. So seeing someone that knows nothing about you use the correct pronouns when referring to you, especially if they don't even know your name and they don't know you, that's a pretty good pump up for the self-esteem. I don't know. That could just be me, but I think that whenever I'm at work and people, I still get giddy and I get happy and warm and bubbly inside when I'm at work or I'm on the street or I'm just like out just doing anything in public and someone says, "Oh yeah, he or him." It's just, it's nice. Anyway, that's pretty much all he has. He had all of that, and then it took someone saying something for him to later edit and put a disclaimer on how it's the perspective of a trans person that lives in a place that's as open and wonderful as LA. And, that's understandable, because I believe he was born and raised there, so he has the privilege of knowing just just a generally open-minded place. I could be wrong. He may not actually be from LA because I don't know that much about him. I just know that he's a pretty well-known transition. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this whole article. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Ryan Cassata. And I'm sure he couldn't care less. He's got 64K subscribers on Facebook or YouTube, and pretty sure he's got a pretty large Facebook following. I don't know, but I used to be kind of into him and what he did, but then the whole there were a lot. There was a chain reaction of things that kind of led me to falling out of following him and his social media and what he did. Yeah, but this whole article right here, basically, it just makes him seem like he's like, I'm not gonna I'm not I'm not trying to like talk shit on him, because I think he's probably like a pretty chill dude, but just I feel like this article came out of nowhere and was very unnecessary to be made, and it seems like he's reaching for something. Like, I mean, he talks about not needing validation in this article, but to me, the way this article came out, it just seemed like he was looking for validation as someone that doesn't get offended by being misgendered. But yeah, that's my whole thing on this one. This was a fairly unplanned and irregular video. It is only the second video, I believe, of my Queer as Fuck series, but I promise you we are going to get on track with a consistent schedule with this series, and I think it's gonna be pretty good. I got a lot of cool ideas, and I got this nice sweatshirt that just came in today that I'm probably gonna be wearing in like every video. So you'll see a lot of it, and you'll love it if you don't already love it. It says, I'm sure you've seen the ads on Facebook probably if you follow a lot of queer/gay stuff, but it says queer, educated, and petty. If you've seen the ad, the one you've probably seen was gay, educated, and petty, which I also have. I have that one as a shirt, but when I was looking through more of their inventory, I saw the queer one, and I was like, oh my god, I need to have that. But I don't want it as a shirt because I want people to see it consistently, and I wear jackets and sweatshirts fairly often. So yeah, that's that video for this Friday's Queer as Fuck, and I will see you guys later.